Hey, this is Nick Karnick, and you are watching Data Structures in JavaScript. Today we're going to implement the stack data structure in JavaScript. A stack is a simple data structure which is a container of objects. These objects are inserted and removed according to the last in and first out principle. Elements can be added and removed only from the top. So let's dive into some code. Let's create a class node with a constructor that takes in a value and a pointer to the next node. We will store these internally in the node as this.value and this.next node. Let's make sure to export the node class and save it. Now let's go to stack.js. Let's start out by importing node from node. Let's create a class stack with a constructor, and here we're going to define an internal variable called this.top, which will be initialized to null. Let's make sure we export the class stack as well. Alright, so let's create a method called push, which will take a value to be pushed into the stack. We will first create an instance of a node, and this instance takes in a value which is what's passed into the push method, followed by a reference to the next node, which will be the top of the stack. Finally, we need to move this.top to the newly created node. Let's create a print method that will allow us to print the stack. We're going to start out by creating a pointer that points to this.top. And while the pointer has a value, we will print that value to the console, followed by moving the pointer to the next node. Finally, let's print a marker that indicates that we're at the end of the stack. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to call the print method from the push function. Also, at the beginning, I will console log push. In addition, let's create a pop method. This method will first check if this.top has a value. If it does, it needs to extract that value into a variable. So let's create a variable prior to that and assign it to null. And if there is a value at the top, we're going to pull that out into the variable, and we're going to move this.top to the next node in that chain. Now if this happens to be the last node, this.top will end up pointing to null. Finally, we want to return value. In addition, let's make sure we print the stack as well, so that we can validate our data. Alright, now it's time to go into index and test what we've created. Let's start out by importing stack from stack. We're going to first create an instance of stack. Let's call stack.push and pass in 1. Notice that in the console, we're printing that the push method was called and the elements in the stack, followed by the end of the stack marker. So let's go ahead and add a few more elements onto the stack. I'm going to add 2, 3, 4. Notice that a value gets pushed onto the stack after each function call. Alright, let's test that we're able to pop elements. So I'm going to do this 5 times. Alright, notice that as we start popping elements, the stack gets reduced by 1. I'm going to go back to stack and add another console log here to indicate that we're popping items. Alright, so notice that pop gets called here and 4 is removed off the stack, and after every call to pop, the topmost element gets removed. And finally, it's printing an empty list because there are no more elements in the stack. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, write them below and subscribe to my channel to be notified of future videos. Thank you.